Hi, welcome to Career Mindset. Today we're looking at a very interesting profession, which is dentistry. I'm here with Steve, who's my friend, my brother, and we're just gonna just talk about dentistry and see how that goes. Steve is a very proud Scottish man,
Absolutely.
and he's also a Tottenham Hotspur. I can't even say it. Tottenham Hotspur supporter.
I
Can you
am.
believe?
They're my English team. My Scottish team is Falkirk.
All right, Falkirk.
They're my main team, but Tottenham are my English team.
Well, you know that Tottenham are not going to get very far this season, since Arsenal have already got one hand on the Prem.
Yeah, let's not talk
Yeah,
about that.
we won't get into that, but yeah. So we're just going to talk about dentistry and how Steve got into that. So, Steve, thank you very much for talking and sharing your route.
You're welcome.
Okay, so how did you get started?
How did I get started?
Yeah.
So I have to go back to when I was at school. I was quite young, 14, 15. My aunt, she used to work in a job centre when there
Okay.
was such things back in the day.
Wow.
And she had this big book with all the jobs you could do and the qualifications you needed, what you needed to do it. And she sat with me one day and went through this book.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she said was dentist. And I said, don't be ridiculous. Nobody wants to be a dentist. But kind of stuck, to be honest. And then I had an opportunity to do some work experience with my dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
that was me hooked, really, after that.
Fantastic. Wow. So, in terms of Zoe, I mean, the second, it really leads on the second question, really. Was it like it was a natural interest, something you really were interested in as a young person?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, as I said, if initially I thought, no, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
more I thought about it, because I was really interested in healthcare, I guess.
Yeah.
Interested in helping people. So naturally, those are the things that are within me, I think, is helping people, healthcare, that kind of
Okay.
thing. Decided I didn't want to be a doctor, didn't fancy the surgery part of that. And so thought, yeah, dentistry might work. And so when I did work experience, it just seems like I was made for it, really.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Okay, moves on to our third question. How long have you been doing this for? How long have you
Quite
been
a
a
long
dentist?
time, 25 years now.
Wow.
So qualified in 98. Yeah, summer 98.
Mm,
And what is this? Nearly summer 2023. So yeah, it'll be 25 years in a couple of months.
wow.
Long
Okay.
time.
Excellent. So let's talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
Money is important.
Absolutely.
We all need it, especially these times. So, what's the starting salary for somebody that wants
So,
to
so when you're a
start?
dentist, what happens
Mhm.
is once you qualify, you're guaranteed a job for that first year
Okay.
working for the NHS, and it pays about 36,000 at the moment
Okay.
for that first year, and you essentially work in a practice that is qualified to look after you essentially
Okay.
for that year. So you study, you do all your degree and what you need to do,
Yeah.
but then you've kind of got a year when you learn how to work in a practice, how to be around that environment, and there's somebody there if you run into trouble that's kind
Okay,
of qualified to
okay.
help you. So that first year, 36,000, and then after that, the average dentist makes somewhere between 50 to 100,000.
Okay.
And then you can do things like specialize,
Mm.
and you would make more if you specialized. And also then if you go to private practice, you can make more still. So
Okay.
probably up to about 150, depending on if you do private practice and specialize, that type of thing.
Okay. Fantastic.
Depends how hard you work, of course, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you find challenging about your profession?
The most challenging thing is the thing that draws me to it, which is people. because people are unpredictable. When you're a dentist, nobody wants to be there, essentially. Yeah. So nobody ever wants to be at the dentist, and you see people at their worst. They're scared, they're frightened, they don't want to be there, and so that brings out different personalities in different people. So some people, they'll just be very quiet, and that's actually quite easy to work with. Other people can be difficult, and so that is always the most challenging part, is the people. Managing expectations in those patients as well. So patients have different expectations, what you can do, what you can't do. And so kind of managing that can be difficult as well. And stress, like any job, stress is, as a dentist, there's a lot of people who have got a lot of stress, especially if you're running practices, things like that as well. So you'll then have staff problems. So again, around people, it's always generally around people is the most difficult things. So staff problems, having enough staff, being able to deal with that, and the stress involved with those kind of things. So those are probably the biggest challenges, I would say.
Training. What type of training do you do, or have you done? Is it a continuous training that you have to do every time, or?
Yeah, so you have to get a degree in dentistry. So a specific degree in dentistry. There's only about 12 dental schools in the country, and you have to. So there's 5 years at university to do that, and then after that, you're qualified to go out there and be a dentist. You have to then do, if you want to work in the NHS, you then have to do that 1 year of vocational training afterwards as well. And then after that, it is continued learning, continued professional development. So you have to do roughly about 20 hours a year of verifiable development. So reading things online, training. You can do a lot of things online. You can do things in person, and then you keep a log of that, and you have to verify that you've done it, and that kind of thing. So, but the main thing is the degree. It'll take a long time. 5 years.
5 years. Another 2 years, and you'll be a doctor.
So you can then specialise, of course, if you want. Up to about 7 more years to specialise. And if you wanted to do that kind of thing, but then you'd be working, so that would be part-time. So you're working as you're specialising as well. If you wanted to do that as well, but I didn't have. After 5 years, that was enough for you. Me. No more exams.
So the next one really answered that question. So it was about the degree, and yes, of course, you do need a degree.
And a specialist degree, you can't get into it through any other means except for doing dentistry and dental school.
Employment. Now, are you self-employed, or because I know that some can be
some dentists are self-employed, some are unemployed, some are employed. I'm self-employed. So I work as essentially what's an associate in somebody else owns a practice, and I essentially, how it works is you rent the room from somebody who owns the practice, and then the rent is the majority of what I make goes to the practice, and then whatever's left is what I keep, essentially. That's how it works when you're self-employed as a dentist. You can be employed. You can work for companies who'll just give you wage. You can work for things like what's the word I'm looking for? Local government type thing. What's the word I'm looking for? Local healthcare through government, essentially. Through the NHS, you can work and be employed in a hospital or in the community service, that type of thing, looking after special needs, that kind of thing. So those can be employed, but I am self-employed, which has advantages and disadvantages.
Absolutely. In terms of location-wise, I guess you work from a particular place, office, you don't move around.
So some dentists do. Some
Okay.
dentists work maybe a day here, a day there. I
Mm.
personally work in the same place. I have done for the last 24 years
Wow.
and have my surgery in a practice which I use
Mm-hmm.
every day. So, that's how it works for me.
Cool.
But some dentists do travel around, do a day here and a day there, depending on how you want to do it, especially if you're a specialist, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll move around a bit more.
Okay. If you were doing things again,
Mm-hmm.
would you do anything differently in terms of your path to where you are now? Would you make any amendments?
Think so. I'd probably work harder at university the first time around. Not really, to be honest. It's kind of went. It's been good.
Okay.
I've enjoyed it,
Okay.
and I really love my job, which is the main thing. I probably, communication skills can always be better. So maybe I would learn earlier on how to communicate better
Okay.
with patients. But a lot of that comes with experience, anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So we're on to the final question, really. In terms of advice or
Yeah.
comment, what advice would you give people that would like to embark into dentistry?
So if you're thinking about becoming a dentist, first of all, you want to do some work experience. I would say see if you would enjoy it, if you would like it.
Right.
But like any job, if you're not going to enjoy it, then it's going to get very old very quickly, very stressful, very depressing very quickly. And dentistry, there's a lot of dentists out there who hate their job. And, there's a lot of dentists with a lot of stress, and that brings mental health problems and also burnout and depression. Suicide rates are really high among dentists.
Really?
So you
Wow.
want to make sure that you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it's got a great potential for work-life balance.
Okay.
You can make good amount of money without having to work huge long hours. So for me, it's been about trying to manage the stress essentially. So I would say don't get into it for the money.
Yeah.
Get into it because it's something you're going to enjoy for more than a year or two.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
It's a long career ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Contentment is the key, really, to happiness. If you can
Yeah.
be content in your job, you're going to be fine. And you're still going to have periods when you're not going to enjoy it for a little while. But for me, I love it and enjoy it. And, so that really helps. The days go quickly. So, yeah, I would say that's the main thing. Don't get into it for the money.
Yeah.
Get into it because you think you're going to enjoy it. Don't worry about the debt so much. You're going to get a lot of debt because you've got to go 5 years at uni. But if you manage your finances well, you'll pay that off quite easily. You make a good wage. That's going to be fine. And the other thing to think about is, career-wise, are you going to buy your own practice? Are you going to become a boss? That brings a whole other level of stress and difficulties. Now, you're going to make more money doing that, but you're going to be spending a lot more time running business, doing all that kind of stuff. So I personally decided I didn't want to buy a practice because I would rather spend less time working and more time doing other things and getting a balance. So I don't need any more money. I make more than enough. So if you can be content with how much money you're making and get a good balance, then that for me has been the key to being content and happy.
Absolutely.
In the job, really. So yeah, it's been a good ride. I would do it all again, I think.
Really? Oh, excellent. You enjoy what you do. I mean, that's the main thing. When you enjoy what you do, it's fulfilling and everything else,
Fulfilling. You're helping people, even though sometimes they don't know you're helping them at the time.
Well, I mean, I was going to say right at the beginning that we need dentists, really. Everybody has a dentist, or if you don't and you get toothache, you get headache, you won't function properly, you won't be able to to eat for one. You know, those are like eating, like me. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Yeah, there's
so
nothing worse than proper toothache is
yeah,
debilitating, and we need good
absolutely.
dentists, but we also need dentists who care for the
Mm,
patients and actually want to help people. And
yeah,
they're not in it just to how
for
much
the
money
money.
I'm going to get out of this
Absolutely.
person. They're in
Yeah,
it because this person in front of me needs my help.
yeah, yeah.
How can I help? So,
Definitely, definitely. Well, Steve, that is it.
yeah,
Thank you very much for spending your time
you're
here,
welcome.
sharing it with these people. And, you know, I hope that this will encourage somebody, it'll excite somebody, it'll help transform your thinking regarding embarking into dentistry. If you're a student, if you're already in a career and you want to switch career, it's possible. Um, so the main aim is really it's all about your thinking. Really, what is it you're thinking about? Um, and really and truly, with the correct mindset, you could do anything. So really, it's up to you. If this is this type of career that you want to embark into, you want to go into, you can do it. It's possible. Because really and truly, it's all about renewing your mindset. That's how you'll change. Transformation comes once you renew your mindset. So thank you. Bye for now. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.